Uwais Al Qarni. Waliyullah at the time of the Prophet ﷺ already existed. This person in the celestial realm has been talked about. Abu Hurairah said, I heard Rasulullah said, the people of Yemen have come, they are the most meek in heart. Fiqh is in the Yemenis. Wisdom is also in the Yemenis. Hadith history of Muslim. At the time of the Prophet, Yemen was called Hadramaut, a dry, hot and hilly place. This young man is not from descent or there is a genealogy to the Prophet. Just an ordinary young man from the Murad tribe. The coast that extends from southeastern Yemen to the Gulf of Aqaba in Oman. This young man from Yemen has long been orphaned, he takes care of his mother who is old and paralyzed. Only blurred vision remained. To make ends meet he worked as a goat herder. The wages he receives are just enough to support his daily life with his mother. If there are advantages, he uses them to help neighbors who are also lacking. His name is Uwais Al Qarni. Uwais Al Qarni was born in 594 AD, which means when the Prophet migrated from Mecca to Medina in 622 AD, Uwais was plus or minus 28 years old. He belonged to the Tabi'in, friends who lived at the time of the Prophet but did not meet. Uwais is known to many people as the poor. A fuqaha of Kufa country, because he wanted to sit with him, gave him 2 pieces of clothing as a gift, but it didn't work out well, because the gift of clothes was accepted and then returned by him saying, I'm worried, some people will accuse me, where did you get the clothes from? That, if not from cajoling, surely from stealing. His busy life as a sheep herder and caring for his mother who was paralyzed and blind did not affect the persistence of his worship. He continued to fast during the day and pray at night. He had embraced Islam when the country of Yemen heard the call of the Prophet Muhammad, who had knocked on the door of their hearts to worship Allah. The regulations contained in Islamic teachings really attracted Uwais' heart, so that after the call to Islam came to Yemen, he immediately embraced it, because so far Uwais' heart has always longed for the arrival of truth. Many of his neighbors who had embraced Islam went to Medina to listen to Rasulullah's teachings directly. How sad Uwais' heart was every time he saw his neighbors who had just come from Medina. They had visited and met the beloved of Allah who is the ruler of the prophets, while he himself had not. His love for the Prophet grew a strong longing to meet his lover, but what could he do? Not have enough supplies to go to Medina, and what he weighed more on was his mother. When he left, no one took care of him. It is told that during the Uhud war, Prophet Muhammad was injured and his teeth were broken by a stone thrown by the enemy. This news was heard by Uwais. He immediately hit his teeth with a rock to fracture. This was done as proof of his love for the Prophet ﷺ, even though he had never seen him. Days change and seasons pass, and the unstoppable longing makes the desire to meet unstoppable. Uwais reflected on himself and asked himself, when will he be able to visit his Prophet and see his face up close? Oh my son, Uwais. Maybe I won't be able to be with you for long. Please, make an effort so that you can perform the pilgrimage, said her mother. After hearing the request from his mother, Uwais was silent and pensive, thinking about how his mother could perform the pilgrimage. If you use a vehicle in the form of a camel or donkey, it is clearly impossible because you don't have the money. The only way is to carry his mother from his hometown of Al Qarn, Yemen, even though he has to travel a very long distance to go to Mecca. Yemen to Mecca is approximately 1,100 kilometers. Besides that, it will also pass through a vast and very hot barren desert. After thinking long enough to find a way out, then Uwais decided to buy a calf and build a stable at the top of the hill. Every morning, Uwais carried the calf back and forth up and down the hill. Even he was called crazy by people who saw his behavior. After 8 months passed and entered the Hajj season. Uwais' ox has reached 100 kilograms, and Uwais' muscles are getting stronger. He is getting more powerful lifting goods. In the end, people knew what Uwais meant to carry his ox every day. It turned out that he was training to carry his mother. Uwais also carried his mother walking from Yemen to Mecca plus or minus 1,100 kilometers. Uwais loved his mother so much. He is willing to travel far and not easy just for the sake of his mother. You can imagine how extraordinary the journey is by just walking. When Wuquf was Uwais, he was straight and brave, he still carried his mother to carry out the tawaf at the Kaaba. Seeing her son struggle, his mother was moved and shed tears of joy at seeing Baytullah before she died. In front of the Kaaba, Uwais prayed, "O Allah, forgive all my mother's sins," her mother asked. "Then what about your sins?" Then Uwais replied, "With the forgiveness of mother's sins, mother will go to heaven. It is enough to be pleased with my mother who will take me to heaven." Instantly his hair loss disease was cured with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, only white dots were left on his palms. Which the white circle was intentionally left as a sign for Umar bin Khattab and Ali bin Abi Talib so they could recognize Uwais later. After completing the Hajj, Uwais asked his mother for permission to visit the house of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The mother understood Uwais' feelings and said, "Go, my son. Meet the Prophet at his house. And when you have met, you will immediately return home. His mother lives in Mecca." With joy he departed and did not forget to prepare the needs of his mother who would be left behind. Uwais left for Medina, which is plus or minus 350 kilometers from Mecca. The terrain that was so fierce that he passed through, the vast desert that could be misleading and so hot during the day, and so cold at night, all of them were passed in order to meet and be able to see to his heart's content the face of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who he had been longing for. Arrived Uwais in the city of Medina. Immediately he headed to the Prophet's house, while saying greetings at the door. From behind the veil Aisha answered greetings. Immediately Uwais asked the Prophet whom he wanted to meet. But apparently he was not at home but was on the battlefield. How disappointed the heart of the longing is, from afar he wants to meet but what he misses is not at home. In his heart turbulent feelings of wanting to wait for the Prophet's arrival from the battlefield. But, when will he return? Meanwhile, his mother's message, which is old and sick, who lives in Mecca, still rings in her ears, so that she can return home quickly, "You must come home soon." Out of obedience to his mother's message overpowered his conscience and willingness to wait and meet the Prophet. He finally forced to say goodbye to Aisha to immediately return to his country. He just sent his greetings.